Okay, so my notes are on my computer, so my eyes are probably going to be going off to the side a lot as I look at my notes. And forgive me in advance, you will probably hear 1, 2, or all 4 of my dogs at some point in this video. So just know that in advance. So first of all, the 3 worlds approach, just looking at it as a whole, it's designed to look at the historical, literary, and contemporary worlds behind any piece of literature. But obviously, in this class, we're using it for the Bible. I did take the cohort Bible class, so I have learned about the 3 worlds approach already, and it has kind of helped me in my other classes when analyzing other pieces of text. So that's been a really cool thing to learn while in this program because you can utilize this approach for any piece of text that you're reading. It's designed to help you understand the text on a deeper level, and the interpretation is incomplete if you do not have all 3 together. It's the 3 worlds approach is designed to have all 3 worlds defined together. So now to look at the Good Samaritan parable, first through the historical lens. I was told a long time ago of 3 different ways to look at the Bible, but I was not told that they are a 3 worlds approach. They were just 3 different ways to look at the text of a Bible. So the first one was a window into the past, and this would be considered the historical world or the world behind a text. And the reason why it was referred to as a window into the past is because if you stand in front of a window, you're looking out. You're looking into the past, into the world in which the book was written or the text was written, or for our instance, in which the parable of the Good Samaritan was written. With the historical world, you want to look at the time and the culture that was permitted during the text. You also want to look at the geography and the author and the community within the text. And to do this, we want to look further into the Good Samaritan specifically and the characters in the text. So first off is the Samaritan. So Samaritan during that time was a kind of like a half-breed, or like most of us are to this day. There's probably hardly anybody that is just one, Jewish or just Hispanic or just African American. We all have a little bit of different things. So like, for instance, I would be considered probably multiple breed because I am Swedish, German, and Irish. So I've got 3. But a Samaritan was a half-breed, Jewish and Gentile, and someone that was kind of looked down upon. They weren't someone that was expected to really help anyone, let alone someone of Jewish descent. And so this would kind of be considered the loud fart, so to speak, in the story, because you would have never seen a Samaritan helping someone else, let alone someone of Jewish descent. A priest and a Levite were at the top of the social ladder. They were the ones that kind of ruled the temple at the time. They were to remain pure and clean at all costs. And Levites were kind of held at the same level as a priest. So Levites were given a lot of, responsibility as the same level as priests. They were in charge of doing the, I can't remember this, like the sacrificial burnings of like the lamb and stuff like that. So they were pretty high up in the ladder. And this is why they probably, or what I'm assuming, the reason why they crossed the street and walked completely by the man that was dying on the side of the path or the dirt road. They probably assumed him to already be dead, and for them it was not okay to help dead. That would have been for them to be considered to like make them unclean or impure. So the next would be to look at the literary world. And this is like looking at a picture. So you're looking at the world within the text. You're looking at the text as you see it. You're not trying to go for a deeper meaning. You're literally just looking at it as a literal text. So in this, you want to look at the text type, the setting, structure, and the storyline, the characters and their interactions, and also the literary techniques that you see within the text. So for this, I thought it's kind of would be good to understand like what is a parable. And a parable is a text designed to teach a single lesson. So if you are getting multiple lessons out of a parable, you're probably reading it wrong, or you're reading into it a little too much. Parables are made to be offensive in nature and contain that loud fart that we've been hearing about the entire class session. Parables cause you to think. You are not supposed to get the parable right away. You're not supposed to read it instantly. No, it's going to cause you to think deeper. And like I said, we know it's a parable. We know that the Good Samaritan is a parable because it does cause us to think, and it does teach us a single lesson. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. You're going to hear me cough the entire time. The last is the contemporary world. And this was taught to me as a mirror to see yourself within the text, or the world in front of the text. This is the world that we, the reader, bring to the text. Our own personal experiences and viewpoints, and our cultural influences. Every single person that reads a text is going to see it differently. Just like every single person that reads the Good Samaritan is going to take it just a tad bit differently, depending on how we were raised, how we live our lives, our experiences, what we've had to deal with in our lives as well. It's how we distinguish individuality. It's how we see things differently. So if you see the Good Samaritan differently than someone else, that's fine, as long as the lesson is still the same. So the whole main point of the contemporary world lens is how can we apply this text to our own lives? So it is important to remember that God expects of us to not think of class, religion, or creed when it comes to helping others. Everyone should be considered a neighbor and should never be left for dead. So when we look back at the priest or the Levite, they walked past the Jewish man laying in the street. God calls us to never leave a fellow neighbor behind. That means helping whenever you can. And if God has blessed you, then he has overly blessed you so that you can in turn bless someone else. If you have been blessed in your life, it is not because you are lucky. It is not because you got dealt a good hand. It's because God has called you to be the person that could possibly help somebody else. It is one of our main missions in this life to love thy neighbor and to help whenever we can. It is how we gain eternal life in the kingdom of heaven. So we're not to just walk past somebody. For instance, when I was younger, with my youth group, we used to go down to LA, down to the very bad parts of LA, and serve in the missions and help serve food to the homeless. And I remember sometimes we would serve food, and sometimes we would sit on the floor in those facilities and just talk about Jesus to, like for me, I would talk to the women there, and to know that it's okay to get down on that dirty ground and to hold hands with someone who may not be as clean as you, but because God has called you to do so. We should never think that we are too high up on a social ladder or too good to come down to the ground level to help another. Like I said, coming down to the ground and knowing that if you come to the level of someone else, that will further show them that, you really want to help them. In Jesus' eyes, we are all the same. since titles have no place in the kingdom of heaven. Even if you have a high-ranking title here on earth, and you've worked for that, that is amazing. But when you get to heaven, that title doesn't matter. That title does not hold true there, and that is why God has called us to help everyone. Because when we get to heaven, we're all going to be on the same playing field. So I hope that my interpretation maybe helps someone else. And just as a recap, the contemporary world is a mirror to see yourself within the text. The literary world is a picture to look within the text. And the historical world is a window to look into the past of a text. Thanks. Bye.